Good afternoon and welcome to our Class Intercom webinar. My name is Becky Voss, and our other host today who will be joining us is Taylor Siebert, one of our founders. In this webinar series, we are excited to share with you how some of our partner schools are utilizing the Class Intercom platform to engage their students in their school's story. Today, I would like to introduce you to Heather Callihan, Tech Integrationist at Grand Island Northwest here in Nebraska. Hi, Heather. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, Becky.
You bet. Thanks so much for joining us. I know you have a few things in mind to share with us, so I'm happy to hand it over to you.
Awesome. So Class Intercom is something that we have, it's still a little new here at Northwest. We have had some social media profiles and Twitter, Facebook, and then most recently Instagram for quite a few years here. And one of the things that as administrators and as a technology integrationist, we worked very hard at sharing our school's story. We shared account login and password information with the superintendent, business manager, athletic director, principal, assistant principal, myself. So that was our attempt to be able to get information out there, knowing that between 6 or 7 of us that we would be in classrooms at activities, at athletic events, in different buildings, and just available to start pushing out content to share the great things that are happening in our school, because we knew the value of sharing our story and letting people know what was happening in classrooms and outside of our classrooms. Most recently last spring and throughout, even a little bit into last school year, there has been, more of a push in the value of student voice in your social media became very important, and the importance of it actually became more evident to us as a school district. One of the things that we did as far as student voice was the hashtags. We have our GINW Vikings hashtag, and so we would encourage our students and parents, people that were at these activities, to also use our hashtag, and that gave us the opportunity to retweet their content or retweet scores or images, just different things that were happening. And that was kind of our attempt at getting student voice, patron voice out there on our social media. But again, it wasn't as authentic as we wanted it to be. So when I came across Class Intercom last spring, I was very excited because it initially did allow students to compose that content and push that information out. And so it was truly the voice behind our students, students pushing out that content on social media, because in the end, we knew that they were the ones that were following us most commonly. Our students were following what was happening, whether they were looking for, snow days or results to some contests, just different things out there. And so having student voice, we knew that that would bring on more interactions. We wanted them to interact with the content and the stuff that we're pushing out, but we knew student voice was very important. And so Class Intercom has been that authentic way to do that, not only to get a student voice, but as the tech integrationist and a teacher here at the school, we also found it very important to incorporate digital citizenship. And I do a lot of digital citizenship lessons, presentations, and things like that. And there's only so much sit and get, preach, preach, preach. You should do this, you shouldn't do this. And one of the things I looked at a lot is trying to find ways to authentically teach that. We need to give kids an opportunity to practice what we tell them and interact with the social media and push stuff out there, demonstrate what they've learned instead of just saying you shouldn't do that. And so Class Intercom does. It provides that authentic digital citizenship opportunity, and it allows those students to be those digital leaders because they're the ones pushing out the content and sharing your school story. So that is probably my biggest takeaway there, is that, once we implemented last spring as kind of a pilot opportunity where we had some students working as a potential internship, being our, I don't want to say marketers, but I guess our digital marketers, per se, because they were sharing the story. And then the goal now is to have the students that we have participate in an internship where they are working with me with different challenges and different things. I kind of coach them through some ideas of, this week, for example, like this week is homecoming week. And so the focus or the challenges for content is to celebrate the great things happening, celebrate the spirit, the school spirit happening daily with pictures and slogans and different things, because there's lots of different celebratory days going on throughout the week. So we have 6 students right now in our internship that I kind of coach through those opportunities where they're encouraged to push content out during the day, outside of school, and while they're at activities, whether it's weekends, during the week, what have you. So we've just found a lot of benefits there.
Awesome. It sounds like you've taken student involvement in the school social media from an opportunity for students to engage to the school through hashtags, from that to also adding an opportunity for some students at least to engage as the school, saying we are Northwest. So,
correct.
Now we've got students at your school who are, like you said, creating this content that is posted as the school, not just as, Bobby or Susie on their own social media account that gets retweeted. So
correct.
Let's take a moment and let's take a look at the platform. And then Heather, if you don't mind, once I walk through how the platform works a bit, I would love for you to actually pull up your school's account and see how that really is working in real time. So this is the Class Intercom platform. And as you can see, it is a social media management tool. The difference here is that in addition to this weekly or monthly calendar where we're actually scheduling out content and scheduling out posts, like some of the other social management tools that you might see, this platform adds a whole other layer that allows teachers and staff at the school to actually manage content that students are creating. So we see here in this pending column, we have a set of posts that students have actually created. So here a student has created this image with this post and this copy, submitted it to their teacher, Ben Pinkinen, and Ben, that teacher, can actually approve or deny this post. We also have the ability to write notes back and forth. Please add hashtags. So now we save this and we can send that note right back to that student. That student gets an alert. And now, just like Heather mentioned, this becomes a teaching tool, not just something that helps us schedule things out or says yes or no to that post, but this becomes this method of actually teaching students through practice what we're teaching them in that set and get scenario. Creating content is super easy. You simply come up here to compose social post. We authenticate across your current existing social channels. We do connect with Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and we are official partners there. So when you post from the Class Intercom application, it appears as a native post. It's never going to say anything like powered by Class Intercom. That will appear as a native post. So we might say something like, check out what students are doing. We can add pictures. So I'm simply pulling this picture in from my desktop. We can actually apply labels to these posts as well. So maybe this has to do with a specific class that these students are participating in, Digital 101. Now I can choose which teacher to have review that. So I can select right up here. Maybe I'll have Taylor review this if he's my teacher. I can also schedule this out if that's a thing that is necessary for this post. We find students most often want that immediate post, that immediate gratification. But if you were to post about a pep rally or homecoming events, like Heather mentioned, the scheduling tool can be very nice here. And then as a student, I'm going to submit that. And then the teacher that has been assigned gets a notification in their email that there's something waiting for their review. So not only now are we able to have students share their voice with the rest of the following, we're actually also saving time for the folks at the school who in the past have been responsible for creating all of the content for the school's social media. So instead of having to think of something to post or having to be at every event, those folks can simply manage the posts that are coming in from students. There are a variety of roles that can be assigned. Adding students is quite simple, simply adding a member, an email address, first and last name. They then get a link to ask them to create their own password. And then you assign students either a contributor or writer role. Both of these opportunities provide the students the ability to create content. They can either create a draft, which would then be reviewed in more of a classroom setting, or perhaps a writer, like Heather mentioned with her interns. These folks can be all about the school, involved in many different things, snap those pictures and upload those posts, and then it gets sent over for approval. The folks who would be able to actually approve or deny that content would be a teacher role. So there's definitely those safeguards that provide for safe sharing. Heather, what are some of your favorite features about the platform?
One of the things I like right now is I like the calendar view.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have some students that not only my internship kids, but we also have a few students from our digital broadcasting and our broadcast journalism courses.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we have events, they are in charge of creating like the graphics for the event to promote. Like for example, we have volleyball tonight, so they're promoting that as an event, and then homecoming week, those types of things. But it's nice to see calendar view because we have several students working in Class Intercom, you can see what posts are scheduled and what content has already been pushed out by students. It's just kind of a nice view. I also like the being able to label posts.
Mm-hmm.
One of the concerns I feel like, and this is not just our school, but any school, when you start pushing out content and engaging in social media, you want to be cognizant of all activities and all athletics things going in and outside and inside classroom time, and you want to be able to post and keep that balanced. And so that's one of the suggestions I think actually that Taylor suggested is putting those labels on there, so then if you ever need to go back, as a class, like our broadcast journalism could look back and say, you've tagged a bunch of stuff volleyball, a bunch of stuff football, but there's a band competition coming up this weekend. Maybe we need to put some stuff out there. So those are things that are nice conversation points when students are thinking, okay, what's next? What should I post? Besides looking at the calendar view, also looking at those tags to help keep a balanced approach to what information you're sharing, because there's lots of great stuff with the activities and the things that students are involved in, but also from a teacher perspective too, we push out content related to parent-teacher conferences and stuff like that. So that's another balance. You want to keep student voice and student activities and involvement stuff out there too, but then we still have patrons, parents out there that want that stuff too.
Perfect.
So it's nice to see that we have all that, and the calendar view just kind of gives you that a quick snapshot of what's been posted and what's coming out.
And you hit another really good point. You've got your kids who are helping and participating with building graphics. And those kids are probably going to be using Class Intercom from a desktop machine or a laptop. The majority of your intern kids who are out among their peers, snapping those photos with their mobile devices and uploading posts on the fly, those kids are probably using the Class Intercom mobile app. So we do have iPhone and Android apps. It simply requires that they log in with their username and password that they've created from the system. And within that, they can do all of the functions that they can do from the desktop. So they can upload those images, create posts, engage back and forth with their instructors, and so on, all from that mobile device. This also empowers some of your younger students. We do have some schools who are working with Class Intercom all the way down to 4th and 5th graders, and they're simply using their school iPads. Maybe they don't have their own mobile device or they're not installing that app there. But it really helps to have a more broad reach for your students to really teach and practice that digital citizenship. So what I'd like to do now, Heather, is I'm going to actually make you the presenter so that you can share with us a little more detail about your school's account. This is going to give us an opportunity to see who and how folks are using the platform on your end and what your day looks like when you've got kids creating posts and creating content for us to share.
Okay, so I
So
just want to
under
make
that
sure.
big, you got it. Perfect.
Can you see my screen now?
It looks great.
Okay, so what we have, actually, this is one of my favorite screens when I'm looking at a weekly view. I mentioned the calendar view, so I will um, start there. Okay, so as you can see, we had some content. This is stuff that's gone live on Monday. You can see that we have some pending posts here. Monday night, this one right here, this is one I think I'll note first. This one right here, if you can see, this student created this last night at 9:23, updated it, and then assigned it to me. And one of the nice things as in my role is that I get notifications via email. And I have my text notification, so it pops up. My email comes up right away. But it's nice to get those notifications that a student submitted content, because even though they're submitting and they need approval, I feel that it's very important that as an approver, I want to make sure they get their content out right away. And so this was on behalf of our Viking Saga, our newspaper. She was able to submit the information regarding Wednesday getting that newspaper article. So that was actually submitted during during the evening last night. As you can see, another one, this one, actually I posted this one, but you can post the two pictures. And I know you mentioned that it posts natively, Becky.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to mention something about that that's very awesome. It's another one of my favorite features. We used to connect our Facebook to Twitter. So whatever was posted on Facebook automatically went to Twitter. And it always drove me crazy because when I would go to Twitter, it would say something about a post and then it would be like FB for Facebook, dot, dot, dot something. And you still had to click another link to actually see the image or see what was posted. Whereas using Class Intercom, I can tag our social profile for Twitter and Facebook, put these images in with this caption, and it's natively posted. Those images and the text are natively posted. So it
On both
alleviates
of those
that.
platforms, right?
Yep.
Right. Not a link from one to another. You're
No,
right.
so that's a huge thing for us. And that was one of the things I was always looking for something to take that piece away. And it doesn't take any extra time because I can just click them right away.
Just another way to save time with the platform. That's right.
Right. So I'm still in calendar view here. Again, I can go in and look and see Friday. We have live streaming of our activities. And so it's nice to be able to promote that. So Friday afternoon, this one is one that I scheduled. Usually we have a graphic that our students in our digital broadcasting create, but they haven't created it yet. So I just put this out there to have that push live. That's not to say that if they have a graphic, they can't push it out there as well. But the nice thing is that when they go out to push out the graphic to promote our event on Friday, that they couldn't look at that and say, oh, okay, so it looks like that's going to go out at 3:20. We're going to push something out that goes at 6:50, 10 minutes before the game. So that's nice. It doesn't necessarily mean I don't want to duplicate it, but I just want to schedule accordingly around that time frame. One of the other things I like to do on calendar view is kind of go back to the week prior. So you could see like this week right now, we're kind of heavy with activities related to homecoming.
Mm-hmm.
We had some student posts last week. The student submitted something. As you can see, again, it was 6:40 at night. It was just an image. They were highlighting the volleyball team. Again, this is one of our student interns that submitted that, and it was approved very quickly. We also have, this is from digital broadcasting, a student in our digital broadcasting class just wanted to promote their next September broadcast. So they just took a picture and submitted that there. So the nice thing is it's not just images. You can see we have links in there. But as a teacher, I can see this is content that went out last week. It also gives students an idea. I did have some students that just joined the internship and they get hesitant on what am I supposed to share, what am I supposed to post? And it's nice to have that resource to go back and say, okay, I see that, so and so took a picture at the game on Friday night, and this photo was, during the game. So I know I can do that if I'm available. This was taken during the classroom, another activity one. This one was actually 3 photos from an FBLA meeting that again happened after school hours. It's just nice to have those things out there. This was just a simple text one that came through again in the middle of the day, just sharing our thoughts and concern for the families and people in Florida. I thought that was a nice one, just coming from a student. Not necessarily pictures, but just some powerful text that they could share out there, just powerful content that's very important to share and kind of reflect on.
So when you're
Um,
talking about students being able to, maybe join the internship team and to say, where do I start? How do I begin? Can you show us your binder? So rolling over then to the left-hand side, the binder is actually where all of your digital content then is archived. So anytime someone creates content and pushes it out to your social media channels, our system also archives it. Now you can filter via those labels that you've created up here at the top as well. This provides another
we don't.
safety measure for those schools that they can go back, they can filter through. We're going to archive this content indefinitely. So we can always pull up content. And if you click on one that's not a rogue post there, Heather, if you would scroll down a little farther, it'll actually show that entire interchange with the teacher and the student. Any of those comments, anytime that it's updated, that is all logged and recorded right along with
Oh,
that
geez.
post. That's okay. Yep. So Heather, share with me a little bit, if you would, about how this has impacted your school culture. It was interesting to me that you had not only posts and content about athletics, which I think we kind of all expect, but it was also cool to see some of the things that are in the classroom. So that that digital broadcasting classroom that you showed us the picture of. Um, has this pulled in some students that otherwise might not get highlighted at the school?
I think it does, because one of the things we did when we shared the whole class intercom idea with staff members is I let staff members know the whole idea. I went into overview and said, we want student voice behind our social media. Here's what this looks like. And in order to ensure we were getting activities and being able to post from, FFA to FCCLA to volleyball, band, music, all those types of things, I encourage them to think about the leaders that they have in those organizations, or people that they thought would make good leaders, or good content contributors,
Mm-hmm.
people that they thought maybe that would be something that they would have a niche for and a passion for, and to share their names with me. So actually several of the names of the people, I've had a couple that have come to me just because they've heard of the opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
but several of them on our team are people that teachers said, this person would do a wonderful job, or this person kind of has a passion for that. So that has kind of worked out well. Interesting story, kind of when it all started, the internship all started. Our student section has a Twitter account, and the student section Twitter account called The Shipyard is managed by 2 seniors. It started last year, actually.
Mm.
And so initially when we first started the trial period with it, with Class Intercom, those were the first people I went to. I knew there was somebody in charge of that Shipyard Twitter account that was pushing out content that was very positive, promoted our school in a positive way. Just did a fantastic job. And so that's kind of where I started last year, as far as who could help with this internship, or who could help get the ball rolling and get this Class Intercom student voice mission off the ground. And that's exactly where I went, and it was right where I needed to go. And it's just kind of expanded from there. The person that managed that account has graduated, and so it was turned over to a couple different seniors this year that kind of manage that specific account. But again, they're people that see the value of social media and sharing the story. And so they also have, not only are they managing the student section account, but we have them as writers and contributors on our Class Intercom for our school account, along
Cool.
with the other people that are part of the internship. So it does allow us to be well-rounded from the different areas and the different activities. And I say we have 6 right now, but that's one of the things that is the beauty of Class Intercom is it's not like once you're in and it's closed. As the word gets out that they have this opportunity and other students hear about it, we're not totally putting a limit on, oh, it can only be 6 kids, because you can never put a limit on the number of people that you can touch with social media and the power of that authentic digital citizenship. And so I would never want to tell somebody no that has a passion for it and is attending our school, because we want to hear the story from as many different perspectives as we can. That's what our patrons and that's what people follow us for. And so the more voices we have behind our story, the better job we can do at sharing it.
Great point. And that definitely is in line with the focus and the objective of Class Intercom, because we do provide for unlimited users. That means you could have potentially every single student in your building on Class Intercom. Now that might become untenable for you to manage and to approve and go back and forth with them on all of their content. But some of our schools are using the platform in specific classes. Maybe it's yearbook or the newspaper class. Some of them are doing it like you are, where it's a specific internship type of scenario. And yet others have a focus on, we want many, many students on the platform. And the goal, one principal told me, was to, I believe, add 1 kid a day for the first several weeks of school. And he was already at 30 because he'd been working with them in the spring as well. So, lots of different ways to approach how to add students, but you're never going to be limited on the number of kids who can be involved, which we're really, really proud to offer it that way. Heather, I want to wrap up our time here a little bit. Do you have any final thoughts or any other things you would like to add?
I just think that there's never, you can just never, I don't know that price tag is the right word, but I would say you can never put a price tag on the importance of and how the value of digital citizenship and those authentic opportunities. And I guess my favorite thing about Class Intercom is that it takes you beyond the preaching of digital citizenship and allows students to apply that. And there's no better way for them to apply those skills and practice those digital leadership skills than actually creating content themselves. And then just the whole point of being able to empower them. There's nothing more powerful than creating something for your school social media and it's your post out there.
Yeah.
And I know I've had some people ask, so do you know that was so-and-so's post, or how do you know that? And most of our students right now don't. It's kind of ghosted, I guess. You don't really know unless you know who the team members are. You might have a general idea because they might have been in an activity, but we have encouraged our students, if they want to tag themselves or just kind of CC themselves in a post, to feel free to do that as well, or created by, or post submitted by. They are I'm more than happy to have them credit themselves for the post or add their social media profiles in there too.
Yep.
It's just one way to show that is a student created post, especially for the people that are following.
And that's cool for the kid who wants folks to know that they're the one who created that, and the fact that it's optional and that they can fly under that radar is a good thing for some other kids who, they want to be involved and they want to create that content, but they aren't necessarily comfortable in a spotlight position too.
So I would just say, just empower those students and create those digital leaders. You can never regret that in the school systems, the digital leadership and that digital citizenship. We all kind of work together on that. So.
Well, and you're truly creating leaders. This is a job. Many of us, deal with social media in our jobs today, and it is a very big part of marketing. So you really are giving students an upper hand to participate in this and learn some of these skills. So we're just so pleased with the work that you're doing at Grand Island Northwest High School, and we thank you so much for joining us today, Heather. For those of you listening, I will follow up with an email. If you're listening to the recording today, please feel free to email me at becky@classintercom.com. I would love to share with you some of the social media profiles of schools who are using our platform with our students so that you can see the impact of student voice in the school story. Thank you very much for joining us today. Again, I'm Becky Voss with Class Intercom. My email address is becky@classintercom.com, and we look forward to catching up with you soon and learning the ways that we can help you share your student voice. Thanks, everyone.